Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. At the end of every patch cycle, we are presented with a post-mortem for the previous patch, breaking down the good, the bad, and what could be better. As always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. Thank you guys so much for the support. It is truly appreciated. So today I would like to break down this 3.13 and Invictus week post-mortem. Now in these post-mortems, senior devs from each pillar of development take some time to explain how they felt the last patch release went. They discuss what went well, what didn't go so well, and what they will do differently in the future. Now this is to be part one of two videos, with today's video specifically focusing on Tony Zurovec and his team's work, the systemic gameplay and services pillar, and I will put the rest of the pillars into a part two video, hopefully sometime tomorrow. So kicking off with the reputation UI. With this UI, players have much more clarity on their status with both organizations and mission givers within the PU, and the overall development and release of this feature went pretty smoothly for the team. Unfortunately, they say it will take some time to churn through the entirety of the missions, refactoring the mission giver behaviors and converting the mission content to the new system to take advantage of this new system and UI. In the future, he says they will try to improve their global communications with other teams, as communication breakdown has been an issue, and with that they have been trying to create more technical design documents or TDDs prior to starting these larger initiatives, just to help create more of a global awareness through all divisions. Also, he says with the system now in place and their second star system on the horizon, once server meshing comes online of course, they are discussing how they can structure organizations within the universe for the first 5 systems. Now this includes everything from the new player experience and their starting location, how players progress within a single system, and how major organizations will influence content across multiple systems. This will allow them to define what gameplay will be involved for each of the major mission types, with the current plan to associate each mission type with the reputation tracks within the organizations. So it is exciting to hear that they are planning reputation and missions and how they will work across multiple star systems. It'll be very interesting to see these evolve as the game develops and see what missions require us to travel not only around within one system like we kind of have now with Stanton, but across potentially 5 systems. But the real question is, what systems will they be? Do let me know what you think the first 5 systems will be in the comments below. Next up, he speaks about Invictus launch week, stating that the week went very smoothly and they managed to expand their dynamic mission service toolbox. This was the first time that they have been able to change a shop's inventory dynamically based on in-game events. And this will ultimately be tied and controlled by the Quanta tool that we heard about in Tony Zurovec's presentation. Now this allows them to add new event-specific items, as well as change whether a shop consumes or replenishes these commodities, which ultimately changes the overall price of the item. And these changes are for a limited time during the event, so it allows them to change the economic climate of as many shops as they would like to achieve the desired result. Something else that they have added is price threshold triggers. Now this will help to expand the cargo profession, triggering missions based on the shop's inventories hitting designated levels, and the first step of this we actually saw as journal entries during the event with commodity price changes that popped up on our Mobiglass. Now he says that the next step is to send these journal entries out game-wide at any distance, so between multiple star systems, as they move towards a quanta-driven solar system. And now all of the underlying functionality is implemented as intended. There will be very little throwaway work when they redo the mission manager UI and add some level of economy information elsewhere within the game, but of course there are no timeframes on this. They are actually looking to expand on exposing the items and prices for shops that change dynamically during these events, as it is one of the major underpinnings of the economic and cargo system. So it is great to hear that the functionality for the Mission Manager UI is done. I think this will be a new Mission Manager app that you have access to on the Mobiglass, and hopefully for Ninetales and the Xenothreat version 2, we will have some deeper functionality involved. And I personally feel that once the economy and cargo systems are more complete, it will drastically change the persistent universe for many players, including myself. Just having missions driven by the economy, even simple missions to deliver varied quantities of cargo, will certainly take up a lot of my time. Now, some of the issues with the Invictus launch week was many events were intended to release in earlier builds, but had to be pushed back due to the lack of QA testers. Also, setting up the shop modifiers and price threshold triggers were not conducive to making large-scale changes quickly. And there was a lot of confusion with the buy and sell context, as these options were reversed and not from the player's perspective. For the future, he would like to see some better coordination between QA and the dev teams that require larger scale QA involvement, such as Invictus and Ninetales, and ideally try to get the delivery of all gameplay features and related services well in advance of any potential delivery date. He would also like to see the UI presentation of these journal entries cleaned up in any future revisions, ordering them by maybe landing zone, and then within each landing zone showing things you can buy and what you can sell, with the ideal solution to have some type of economic information available someplace like the star map or within a separate app. And I completely agree, it was a bit of an information splurge, but I am hoping that we do get an app for the economy and trading, one that dynamically updates as the game world does. But I also think utilizing the star map as well is a great idea, so that maybe you could hover over a location and just see what the supply and demand is for that location. Now, next up we have the mission features, with Tony Zurovec saying that the collaboration between them and other departments on both Xenothreat and Fleet Week was stronger than it has ever been. The content they added to caves, like the bounty hunting missions, were not even on their planned list of deliverables, but they wanted it in, as it would have been a shame to release the new cave entrances without something present there. Plus, they added a lot more mission locations in the Yellow Asteroid Belt. I think this is all specifically referring to the bounty hunting missions. They were also able to add new debug GUI, which is now proving invaluable for identifying issues at a far more rapid pace, and the creation of new delivery missions went quickly and smoothly thanks to the well-established missions that they were able to reuse from Xenothreat. These are the quantum-sensitive and time-sensitive box missions. There was an issue creating and maintaining unique entities like the quantum-sensitive boxes, for example, as these were worked on by a mixture of several teams. So when it came to those specific bugs, it was very difficult to get traction, and continued maintenance of these was a bit of an issue, as there isn't a defined developer to own and sustain them, which does sound like a problem. Now on to the systemic services and tools. The super cache was deployed, and work was able to start on several longer term initiatives to integrate Quantum into more services. So firstly, Quasar was deployed, which is the dynamic mission tool that we saw demonstrated in Tony Zurovec's presentation. Development of Quasar was straightforward due to the previous work done with Odin last year, which tackled most of the foundational work required to hook into the live services and dedicated game server instances. Going forward, the Quasar tool will provide a platform through which dynamic mission content can be instantiated via Quantum. Work on the ATC service continued. I believe this is the air traffic controller service, but it wasn't specified. And the team spent time developing a standalone object container decompressor to allow the injection of specific data points to assets without needing to manually re-export each object container through the editor. This work will unlock several other critical areas for data manipulation required for future system services and tool projects. A new high-speed AI service was needed to map live positions of mission-spawned NPCs, which ended up being deceptively complex. This new service requires work from various teams and pillars, which caused delays and difficulties in testing, with many of his team's resources continuing to address bugs that don't end up being in their sphere of responsibility. In the future, presentations will be significantly more straightforward in terms of the content that they are demonstrating, and they will invest in visualization tools to be able to show high-level concepts on the star map quickly and easily. I do look forward to more Tony Zurovec presentations, especially if they are going to be even easier to understand. Now, they also identified issues causing delays on new services like the high-speed AI service, and with the groundwork for Quantum now laid, they will be able to focus on integration of other services. Very happy to hear that the Quantum Foundation is in and it can begin expanding. That is amazing news. Finally, they are now more capable of dealing with cross-team initiatives, identifying issues that don't fall under the responsibility of their team, and plan to reroute those issues to the appropriate teams, basically saving their team much needed time to develop services work. And again, I completely agree with this. We don't want this systemic service and tools team wasting time fixing bugs that should have been tackled by other teams, as this team's work is imperative to getting the game working as it needs to. So that was the Tony Zurovec and Systemic Services and Tools team segment from the 3.13 and Invictus launch week post-mortem. Some great insights into how his work is progressing, and as I mentioned earlier, I will release a part 2 covering all of the other development pillars' thoughts on how 3.13 and launch week went. So be sure to subscribe if you want to see that one. But with that said, if you do want to talk more about Star Citizen or just hang out with myself and my amazing community, you are all more than welcome over at twitch.tv/supermacbrothers Hit the like button if you don't mind, it does the channel a big favour, and tick that little notification bell if you would like to be notified every time my videos go live. Again, massive thank you to my patrons and channel members. Cannot do this without you guys, so thank you so much for the support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.